Yeah, just so we're both in front of the mic here.
We can both be heard equally.
Word up.
All right.
Okay. All right. Hey, gang. Welcome back to another episode of
Living the Scream. The behind the scenes of the Mummy and the Monkey.
That's right. And watch that peaking thing here, because if you see it go red like that, that means you're too loud.
I'll try not to raise my voice too much.
Right. Okay,
since I'm sitting a little closer.
That's all you have to be mindful of. We both be mindful of that. We're good. Okay, so this is our second episode of a revamp of our show. We're just coming back into the fray, right, with the show.
Coming back into it. It's April 12th, 2021, Monday, fun day. We're going to try to do this podcast every Monday, try to upload it to YouTube.
Right, for you to listen to. We did this, we did a bunch of podcasts a while back. It's been about, 2 years since we did them, right?
Three
already?
Three or 4 years. But yeah, here we are, giving it another go, back by popular demand.
That particular tree loves it. And people seem to like the first one we put out last Monday. So we're going to try to make a habit of this and kick one out every Monday evening for you to listen to. And this chronicles Janet, my wife, and I'm James, our everyday lives as independents, self-employed, workers. We do
entrepreneurs.
Do eBay. Yeah.
And you're a freelance artist.
Yeah, I'm just mumbling I'm trying to get coffee in me, so give me a second.
We're also horror film hosts, and we live stream on YouTube and Facebook. We host a show, The Mummy and the Monkey's Hairy Scary Hangout, Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on our Facebook fan page. And our Facebook fan page is The Mummy and the Monkey.
There you go. Well said, well said.
So, yeah, and then we do some stuff with YouTube. We're trying to build up YouTube more, and the podcast format is perfect for it.
Yeah, this is easy, to kind of just plunk yourself down in front of a microphone and just start yapping away and record it. We're recording. We're in our bed right now. I don't know if you can hear the birds outside chirping. We have to do it. I think we should do one outside one day. That could be fun, kind of fun.
That would be fun. Maybe next week we could do that if the weather's fine.
Yeah, my nose is stuffy. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you might hear us drinking coffee too. Last week our drink of choice was a little harder. It was liquor. But today we're drinking coffee because we're gonna do our listings. We went to on eBay. We went out to a few thrift stores today and got a nice bunch of stuff.
So we went to the Honey Hole Goodwill. It's a super special secret Goodwill. We never disclosed the location of that Goodwill.
Yeah, but it's definitely yields a lot of good finds, and it didn't disappoint today.
It does. They had green tags for half off, and I found a nice Calvin Klein shirt for a couple bucks. I found some other clothing. I'm trying to remember the name brands. Land's End, a nice Land's End ladies jacket. A blue Wilson's leather jacket for only $8.
Right.
And I think I could get maybe $40 for it. I was just really happy to find some of these clothing pieces. There was, I think it's a Kohl's brand, Croft and Barrow. I got them for $6, new with the tag, and I think these shoes I can maybe sell online for $30. So I was happy with what I found today.
And just my opinion, I think this when we go over our hauls and stuff that we pick up at thrift stores to resell on eBay and other reselling platforms is a lot more interesting visually. When people can see the stuff. So I mean, I think I'm just going to hold off personally, and I'll mention that I did find some cool stuff like a Marine uniform jacket. I'm thinking it could be a little on the older side. Not sure, and that's my conundrum now, is trying to figure out how to date the thing and try to figure out how old it could be, because the tags kind of was ripped out of the collar. But I'm wondering, there has to be a way to kind of date it, maybe the way what the arm patches are made out of. I don't know.
Yeah, I might have to ask someone who knows and collects military stuff.
Because just looking up stuff, there goes a plane. Just looking up, quickly Googling a Marine, dress blues jacket. It looks like they've been making them the same way since World War II, at least. I mean, nothing's changed on them from what I can tell, so that'll be interesting. And that's another fun part of doing the reselling thing, is that
doing the research and putting the time into it. And then as you're doing that, you're gaining this knowledge. You're learning about certain products. So then maybe next time you go out thrifting or go out to a flea market or yard sale, even if you're not a reseller, it's nice to research things. So even if you're shopping for yourself, you know what to look for that's good quality. You know what the prices go for on certain things, so you know if you're getting a good deal or not. And then as a reseller, you can find things to flip, and once you have that knowledge, 9 times out of 10, you may never have to look at your phone. You just know, like, this brand is good, this item is good.
Well, you will if you're learning. If you're constantly learning, you'll always need that for something. Maybe not that a particular item, but
yeah. I mean, you can use your phone to look things up, of course. But I'm saying there's many times now where I don't have to look things up. I just kind of know what to look for. And then there might be a handful of things that I want to check just in case. But,
well, anyway, so I mean, we had a good. I think we had a good outing today. I mean, we tried to do flea markets over the weekend. I went to one on Saturday, and then we went back to the same one Sunday together, and it just didn't work out.
I would have none of it.
Luck would have it, you were looking at some jewelry at a table. We just get there. There's a decent amount of vendors there. It's not packed. But you stopped to look at some jewelry, and there was an older man next to you, maybe about 3 feet away from you.
So I was
left side.
I was trying to look at this one table that had some vintage costume jewelry, and I thought, well, maybe I could find something there. And of course, that's the table everyone wants to go to. So I was trying to wait until some other shoppers left, so then I can kind of sneak in there and go look, and not try to get too close to anybody. Even though it's outside, if you're that close to people, I'm still trying to be cautious, in case if no one knew there's a pandemic going on. And some people act like it doesn't exist. It does exist. We've had some friends get very ill from it and have almost passed away from it. But we won't get too deep into that conversation. I didn't last long at that flea market. I ended up leaving because
the guy next to you started coughing. He wasn't even wearing a mask. Older guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's all I needed to see, because I basically kind of just all morning kept singing a song about going to the flea market and broke you down. And then we get there, and about 10 minutes into it, some guy coughs right next to you, says, with not wearing a mask. It's just like, of course that's what happens,
And I was very angry and said some
we both were kind of
very colorful language at that individual, and got away as
And but it was just like, whatever, they didn't.
It's really, you're that inconsiderate, you're that rude, you're going to cough next to me.
Careful with that, and not even cover your mouth, because I have to amplify this maybe, and if it's too much, it's gonna.
Sorry, I'm trying to not raise my voice. No. But that situation made me very upset.
Turn this mic down a tiny
So
hair.
I'm not going to flea markets again until I'm fully vaxxed. That's just my own personal opinion. Everyone else can have their own opinion, but that's where I'm coming from with that.
But yeah, so it's a bit of a challenge still to source a little bit in public for those matters, because better safe than sorry, right? But at the same time, that's the challenge. You don't want to lose the life that you need to live, and you need to pay for things. You know what I mean? It's your livelihood. So.
I mean, we still want to go out sourcing. We still like to get out and talk to people, and we still like to see our friends. But how can we do it safely?
Well, yes, of course.
Can we not sneeze and cough on one another? Basic common sense things, guys. It's like, it's so aggravating.
But anyway, so this was a better experience going to the thrift stores. And finding stuff. We found better stuff anyway. I mean, I really didn't walk away with too much over the week. I found a couple things, but some electronic stuff that I'm gonna, hopefully sells quickly. And then that time we went back on Sunday, I got a Jughead from the Archie's Comics mug. It was in the box from 1988. A little gift thing. It's pretty cool, and I can't find anything like it online or on eBay. So I put it up for $50, and it's already got watchers on it. So who knows?
Oh wow!
I paid $2 for it.
So it could be some rare mug.
It's just something that and I know Archie, they have there's collectors for that, obviously, and if it's something that you don't have and it's that obscure, you maybe you'll cough up $30-$50 for a mug,
or cough on someone.
Yeah, or cough on someone. But I think the Honey Hole Excursion, and then the other thrift store I went to, which everything was half off, and it wasn't even mobbed, which I can't believe. And there was still stuff left to pick up. Well, I found something that I'm going to sell for at least $100.
So here's the thing. I'm noticing this with some thrift stores. the Goodwills around here in Northeast Ohio used to do certain colored tags, like on Sundays and Mondays, would only be $1. So I used to buy a lot of good stuff for only $1.
You'd hunt for that particular color.
I would hunt for those tags and find things that I could resell for only $1.
Right.
They don't do that anymore, I think, because they don't want to create a frenzy in the store.
We don't know why.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. Or maybe they want to maximize their profits and don't want to lower prices like they used to.
It's straight up corporate. Because they not only did they change that, but it had nothing to do with creating a frenzy, but they changed their media as well. All their media was $1, whether it's books, CDs, records, tapes, and it was amazing. I would go in there and get everything for $1 a piece and sell it for, $20 all the way up to $300. I bought stuff, and it was, and I don't think it had anything to do with frenzying anybody. I think it's just a corporate change,
Or that. I mean, I'm just throwing ideas out there on what their logic was. Probably you're right, to optimize profits, obviously.
Of course, it's a business. But what they do,
But then they're sitting on all this stuff that doesn't sell as fast, and they don't have as much room for the new donations coming in.
It doesn't matter to them because they pay zero for the overhead.
Well, we went to a store that's doing half off for like the next week, probably to clear out old inventory. That would be my guess, because this is a thrift store that normally you have to have a coupon and it's only good for like 2 days, but now it looks like they're running a half off sale for the whole week.
Right. Well, again, they don't get they win either way. They win whether they have full price sales, or just full price things for sale, or if they make everything 75% off.
Because they get it for free.
Of course. So that penny profit is 100% penny profit. You know what I mean? They pay nothing for the overhead. For the inventory, I should say. Yeah,
they get all their inventory for free. They do pay, their bills and their rents and for employees.
Just like every other business, but the stuff they sell is obviously donated.
So they have no cost of goods sold.
No.
They get all that for free.
It's awesome. It's a great business plan. And we try our best to get everything we sell for as free as we can get it. As cheap as we can get it.
We try, yes. But sometimes if it's a really nice item and I know I can still make something on it, I'll pay up a little bit depending on what it is.
I don't know why I'm trying to come up with an idea of how to do that ourselves, or we're getting stuff given to us instead of buying it. That would be great. But I still like to go out though and find things. I mean, that's the fun part. And the other skill you develop too, doing the reselling thing, is you try to you hone in on things that they don't know. Like for example, one of the places we go to, like everything is looked through and research. You could tell that they look up everything. But like when it comes to like glassware and coffee mugs, they're just $1 usually, $1.09 or some crazy price. But that's where you want to look, because there are $25, $30 mugs sitting there. I know, I've done it. So, I buy something for $1 and I'm, selling it a week later for $25. That's what we try to do too, is find the stuff that's cheap and that they don't know and don't care about.
Obviously not all coffee mugs are going to be collectible, but certain ones, and with your experience, James, you know what to look for and what you think someone would want to buy.
Yeah, it's not that hard, and it's not even that hard. When something's collectible, based on whether it's character driven or the age of something. One of the best things I found was, I don't even know the name of the dang cup now, but it was a coffee cup I bought for like maybe a quarter or 50 cents and sold it for $50.
Wow.
It was some Japanese designer maker thing from, I think, the late 80s. It was just, all it was a white coffee cup with red checkerboard pattern. That was it. But when I looked it up on, when I found it at the store, looked it up online, I was like, whoa, this could go for that much, and it did.
That's awesome.
It took a month or two, but it sold for like $50. So it's just like, but I think that's cool. It doesn't happen all the time, and it's hard. The best thing I ever bought coffee mug wise was one of those Starbucks Cleveland
that was
from 2012, I believe it was.
Was that from the yard sale?
No, that was from the flea market from Guy.
Really?
Yeah, it was buried in a bunch of stuff, and it was a Cleveland Starbucks, but it had the Cleveland skyline illustration on it. And it might have been from 2002. I forget what the date was on it, or maybe 2012. It wasn't old, But it had the original price sticker on it, and I almost took that. I did take it off, but I didn't roll it up or ball it up. And after I took it off, the original price sticker, that was stickered on in Starbucks in the store, when I was researching it, I saw that they were going for like $400 or $500 with the sticker on it. So I put the sticker back on it real quick on the bottom of it, and I listed it for like $200, $250. It sold that night for $250.
Wow.
It was stupid. And I saw some that were up $600. I mean, I think someone bought it to resell it from me.
Probably. They could probably. Some of those people are very with the Starbucks mugs. Some of those are very rare.
Oh, apparently
so.
And
that one was discontrid. It was like a series of
cities that they had. Starbucks, cities that Starbucks. Well, they're everywhere. They're they're in China. They're in the what's that called? That
all over the world.
Yeah, but Tiananmen Square, I think there's one.
Well, they're all over the world.
But anyway, there's
one in Cairo. There's one near the pyramids.
It's weird that but it's hard to get stuff into China like that. I mean, especially in a really
people
forbidden part.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, but they're everywhere, is what I'm trying to say. But the Cleveland, but I couldn't believe it. And if someone else wanted to flip it for $600, say more power to you. I more than got my money back for it. I think I might have spent $10 with the guy at the flea market for a bunch of stuff, and so it was like a quarter maybe I had into it.
That's great.
Boy, I wish I could find those every day.
Sales have been good this week for my eBay store, and I've been listing a lot. The other day I listed a lot of items, and I think that really does help if it shows that you're listing or fixing listings, adjusting things on there. The algorithm picks it up, and I think that does help improve sales, at least from what I can see. Mm-hmm. It was just a good sales week, so I'm very grateful for that. I do have one return open right now. The buyer, I sold an eel skin purse.
Ew.
Yeah, it feels like real leather, but just like a little bit softer,
buttery.
Yeah, and it's like a gray color. But it sold for $20. It was a vintage 70s eel skin purse, 20 plus shipping. And the person just today put in a return request saying not as described. Item not as described. So I sold them a purse. I mailed them a purse. I don't know what they think is not as described. But we'll see if they send it back. They have a week to send it back.
Yeah. And I had a little faux pas. Excuse me, I sent last week, or close to the weekend, I got an email, eBay message from one of someone I sold something to, that said that they are returning the DVD they got because it wasn't the movie that they ordered, and so the thing I sent them, what they ordered was a movie called Carnosaur 2. It's a horror movie about a giant T-Rex, that company. It's called a Carnosaurus. Or Carnosaur, but it's kind of a hard to find DVD. Again, something I found at a different Goodwill. It was like $1, and I look it up. It goes for $45 to $60. I'm like, here we go. Sold it for $45, and get that message, I got some TV series. They were irate, but it's just like, okay, well, it wasn't done on purpose, so you send your return through, and at first I was like, what's he talking about? How did I send him a TV series instead of this? I'm like, I don't know, hopefully they're not gonna do a switcheroo on me and send me something from their video library and claim that I sent them the wrong thing. Well, it was looking that way for a little bit, and until I got another message from another buyer that they received Carnosaur 2. So the packages were either mislabeled or
you were probably tired that day and made a mistake and put the disc in the wrong case.
I definitely made a mistake. Yeah. That's for sure. There's no probably. So
it was an accident. Accident. So how are you going to make it? How are you going to make it right for the customers?
What I wished I could have done in hindsight is I wish I could have gotten them in touch with each other, and then they exchange addresses. They send each other the right DVD, and I reimburse them the postage. The postage.
So you're going to have to reimburse both of them, and mail them the correct disc.
So through eBay, their final return, they'll return the stuff to me. Once I get it, I will relist it, and I'll email them right away and say it's back up if you still want to buy it. Sorry about the mix-up. and they can repurchase it.
So
and,
that's what you're going to do?
And yeah, because the way it's set up too is that I have it set up so, most of the eBay stuff is a buyer would pay return postage if they, but when they get it refunded though, I think they get the eBay refund lets you, because it wasn't their fault.
If it's an item not as described, an INAD or INAD, then yes, you would refund the original postage they paid.
I'll make sure that they get all their money back for the postage, and they won't have to,
So yeah, for item not as described, they do make you refund the original postage.
That's not a problem.
If it's a regular return, and they're just like, oh, I didn't like it, you can refund the price of the item back, but you don't necessarily have to refund that postage.
Right, because they changed their mind.
Yeah.
It wasn't a screw up on your end.
But if they're saying that it's a mistake you made, then it's on you, that's the way the eBay is.
It's just a little inconvenience. They're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Hell, I might even reduce the price a little bit. Just to lick
try to get your money back and be done,
and give them a little bit of a sorry for they're not out anything except for the time that they wanted to watch it last week for whatever reason or this week, and they can't now. I feel bad about that, so I might knock down the price a couple of bucks just so they get a little bit of something, like a bit of a deal.
Especially if they're interested in having the right item.
It doesn't really hurt me much, obviously, because again, I got these things for $1 a piece, and I'm selling them for And the other thing was a series called Moonlight, not Moonlighting, but Moonlight, some vampire-looking series. I don't know. It was like a one season series. It didn't last long, but and I think again, I sold that for $12, $15 or something like that. I might have paid $1 for it, so so the markup's good. It's not like I'm losing a ton of money.
And you have to make it right for them if it's a mistake you made, obviously. Yeah. So, with this item not as described return, if she would have messaged me saying, "Hey, it had a rip in it, or there's a spot on it, something that maybe I missed," and if it was my mistake, then that's fine. But I think some people just abuse that and put item not as described just because they changed their mind.
Right.
Which sucks. But once I get the item back, as long as it wasn't altered and they send me the right item back, then I could just relist it again.
Yeah. Yeah, but when we went to the second thrift store today, it's like I say it's my dream because I always look for this one particular thing in electronics, and they had another one there. This is the second one I found at this particular thrift store within a 6-month period, I believe. But it's a device. It's how they have external disk drives and things like that. If you buy
old computer stuff,
your computer stuff. This one's called a zip drive, and it's made by a company named iOmega. And any variation of it, usually, especially if it's USB. I don't think the SCSI ones really go that good, but they might. I would still buy it and sell it because there's somebody that would want to hook it up to their old computer or whatever. But it's basically a different. It's another format of a disk to save. I think it would head up to a gig. You could save up to 100 megabytes, a gig of stuff on this little specialized disk that was called a zip disk. Those are USB ones, especially when they're Mac, Windows accessible, blah 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 blah. If they work, it's $90 to $100 easy. It's crazy, and I picked up this one today. It was $18 half off, so $9.
That's great.
I can't wait to put it up because I know it's going to sell very quickly, and I'll get a lot back from it.
Very cool.
I was like, oh, come here, come to. I always envision one sitting on a shelf when I walk into any place, and so when they pop up, I'm like, there you are, let's go. You're
so it's like glowing, here I am.
And I know that it's one of those things that nobody knows, and it's $18 on the shelf, and everyone's like, oh, it's too much, but I would have even bought it today if it was $18 because I know I can get that. How you want to double your money usually. So if you spend $20, you want to make $40, that type of thing.
Yeah, well, you want to double or more.
This you will definitely more than double your money.
That's
so
great.
It was an easy buy. Even at $18, I would have picked it up. Because I could get anywhere from $60 to $100 for it.
And when we were at that one thrift store, I heard a lot of Amazon scanners and book scanners.
Beeping, yeah.
I heard a lot of beeping from people's phones.
Now, that's a funny story, I think, about reselling stuff. When we first started doing the eBay stuff a bunch of years ago, it was hilarious because I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's get our phones out and start looking the stuff up. And you would flip out on me. Put your phone away, or shh. You would shush me. I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you think they did? They looked this stuff up, the prices.
I would get it's like this fun. I would get like nervous.
Oh my God, it's
like
hilarious.
I don't want people to know I'm a reseller.
Please, half the people in there are reselling.
And I was trying to be like kind of quiet about it and to not call too much attention to it. And you'd be talking all loud like, "Look what I found! I'm gonna sell this." And I'd be like, "Shh, quiet."
I'm like, what? Like, no, this is the fun part. I mean, who cares?
And I don't know. I guess I thought like, oh, I don't want them to know.
Well, they're gonna make you put it back because you might sell that.
Well, I don't know how true this is, but I did see on one of the like eBay thrifting groups on Facebook, someone did comment that at a thrift store, because this person was shopping and was a reseller, they didn't want to sell them anything.
That sounds illegal. I don't think that could be true. It's not like
I don't know what store that was or if that's a true story, but for a while, I was like trying to be like real quiet about it.
Illegal as all hell.
But now like everyone's on their phone scanning and checking things, so now I'm like, okay, whatever. But at first, when we first started doing this, I was trying to be like real sneaky about it.
That's hilarious. I'm like, you realize half the people in here are definitely reselling.
I know, and he would make fun of me for it, but rightfully so. I was being like really dorky.
Oh my gosh.
I was being really dorky about it.
It was like cloak and dagger stuff. It was like, oh my God, we're not. This is, you're allowed to do this. You know what I mean? It was a little weird. And same thing at yard sales too. Same thing. Shh. No, like, but they're these kind of jeans you're looking for, to put on eBay. Don't say me. Like,
well, with yard sales and flea markets, it's a little bit different because that person could refuse to sell you that, and they have every right to. If they're like, oh, you're gonna get more for this online, well, maybe it'll make me think about what I'm really so. I don't really talk about it much at a yard sale or at a flea market. And if someone does ask, this is what I usually say because it is true. Some stuff I keep, some stuff I sell. If they ask if I'm a reseller.
Well, that's funny too. Is like is when you buy something, and this always obviously they don't really ask you that at a store, but this always happens at yard sales and garage sales and stuff. When you buy a lot of stuff, this happened to me at a church sale once.
Oh yeah, like if you're buying a pile of things,
they'll look at you kind of funny, like, why are you buying all that stuff? It's like guy stuff, girl stuff. Why women's shoes? It's like, here come the questions. Look, you're selling it. Why do you care? I'm buying it, aren't I? I'm not. If we haggle, we haggle. But if we don't, we don't. But this is what I'm interested in purchasing from you. Should not even come out of your. It shouldn't even be a concern of you what I'm doing with it.
People ask us at a Savers thrift store. I don't remember if it was a customer or the cashier when we were in line. But I simply tell them some stuff I keep, some stuff I sell, and then that kind of, and
diffuses everything.
It kind of does, because then it makes them think like, oh, okay. Maybe you collect some things, and then maybe you sell some things to feed the habit of collecting. I think someone at the Savers was like, oh, yeah, I get it. Maybe they didn't know, like, we do it part-time, but I don't like to give them a lot of information.
No, and I don't either, but I just think it's like what does it matter, especially like at a yard sale? Why are you buying all of that? Or I'm buying it. Why do you care?
Or I've heard some people, like some YouTubers say, oh, yeah, I'm shopping for other people.
Yeah, I pulled that one out.
And that makes total sense, because technically, if you're putting it on eBay, you're shopping for other people.
I still mumble under my breath, like, oh, I wonder if my wife will like this, just to kind of, it's like, please, I don't, why am I fronting? Why am I putting on a front? Just buy it, James. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about if they wonder why you're buying it. It's just like funny to me. I don't know.
Yeah, because I noticed like when we had the brick and mortar shop, if someone would tell me their life story and, oh, I think my wife would really like this. Then I know you're a reseller. Yeah. You're just making up a story.
Or another giveaway is, and we've done it, and you were called out for it the one time, which I thought was funny. Like you're looking at something and you go, oh, how much is this little guy, or how much is this little thing here? And the one guy at the flea market went, well, this little thing here is about $30. I looked it up on eBay, blah, 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 blah. He kind of like threw it back at you, because it was a nice piece of jewelry or something like that. And you were trying to do, oh, how much is this little cute thing? This little thing here.
Yeah.
And he knew. I mean, this, I think this was bargains guy.
That dude.
Well, this little thing here is. Well, he knew because it wasn't like some grandpa that brought all his stuff down.
Well, now I know to not call like if you this is so cute. Don't ever like.
Down. It's out. Yeah.
Just don't ever talk something up or say things like that. You just ask. Well, if let's say you're looking at some jewelry, how much is the jewelry? Yeah. How much are the tapes?
Just call it what it is. But when you start making a cute little, or like I'm totally unaware of this really obviously interesting looking thing, and look how this little guy.
To just not even try to make that small talk or complimentary of
because
something.
It worked. It went at the when you had the store. The same thing would happen. Every now and then someone will go, "Oh, this is really cute. How much is this little thing?" It's
and then it's like, okay.
You know what it is. Like I know you know what it is. And you better know I know what it is. So this is $50.
We figured it out. But to not call too much. Just in general, like, oh, what are you asking for this? How much is that? Like, don't.
You get savvy just to the everything.
Not like, oh, this is so cute. How much is it?
No, just
you like it? I'm gonna up my price more.
But it depends though. There are people who I know I can say that and they're not gonna. I can pretend like I don't know what this thing is. How much is this thing? and it'll work. Oh, that they don't. But some people, you just kind of read the vendor and kind of this guy or gal knows what they got. I'm not gonna pretend.
Yeah, and then do not act too eager to
or naive like you don't know. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
to play it cool.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, and as far as looking stuff up, you're right. Like at a thrift store, I just I just whip it out. My phone, I mean. Because I don't care, because that's what they did, and they looked up everything on the computer, so I'm damn well going to look it up on the computer, and I don't care what they say. They can't reprice it right in front of me. They won't. But at a yard sale or at a flea market, Don't do it.
Don't do it.
What I do.
Don't whip out your phone.
Don't whip it out at the flea market.
Don't whip it out at a yard sale.
Don't whip it out at a yard sale.
You should have a general knowledge
of when to whip it out and when not to.
Yes.
And that's the theme of this half hour of the show. Yeah, so what I do is I'll do that's where the fake acting comes out. Is I'll be like, oh, I wonder if, who's calling me? You pick your phone out and you kind of pretend to look.
Or you can step away and then look it up, but don't look it up directly in front of them. It's really tacky and rude.
Yeah, and
And it might make the person who's running the sale reconsider selling to you or reconsider what their price is.
Yeah, and it depends on what mood I'm in too. Like the other day when I bought that Fender amplifier at that little yard sale on our way home from the flea market, the guy had a Fender amp. I don't know how much they went for. It's a little practice amp. So I took my phone. I said, I'm just going to look up to see. I just said it out loud. I said, I'm going to look up to see how much they are. So, I'm not overpaying. I just said it. I didn't care.
That was a little bit because it was higher priced. Yeah. They wanted $40 for this Fender amp.
And I paid $30 for that.
And you got it for $30 with a mic.
Yeah.
So, but
and it works great and it's lovely and they go for about $100.
There's ways to do it without being real tacky. Without being rude.
Sometimes there's not, Or you could just go to your car if it's a yard sale, hope nobody grabs what you were looking at, and look it up right quick and come back. Oh, you know what? I think I'll take that, and I change my mind. Because you just
say, I'm thinking about it. Can you hold that for me? And I'm gonna go to my car and get some change.
Whatever.
Or to check something in my car, and then you could look it up in your car.
I'm gonna go buy some hot dogs. I'll be right back. I don't know why, and then hopefully, I
don't know.
But. Yeah, I'm gonna go change. I left my laundry in.
No. Just
any excuse.
Be polite.
I have to fart.
Don't be.
You trust me. And I had broccoli and.
Pardon me, ma'am. I'm gonna go to the car and fart.
I really, really have to rip one.
and then I will come back and purchase your item.
I don't think that mask is gonna help. So.
Oh my goodness.
It's really gonna. But anyway.
Anyway, so this concludes the reselling part of the podcast.
Okay.
And now we're going to talk about Mummy and Monkey business.
Okay, I like that. Let's go shift from whipping it out to what's going on. Okay, Mummy and the Monkey business. You say
yes. So we're switching gears here, and we're going to talk about Mummy and the Monkey. We did discuss a little bit yesterday, or not yesterday.
Come on now.
Last week. So
you may have listened to this yesterday, the first one.
It feels like yesterday. Aw.
But yeah, we kind of at the end of our first program back here, we started talking a little bit about like stuff that goes on between in the horror host, well, at least the indie horror host community. Well, that's not true either, but because there's a lot of stuff with the people that are around TV, legit TV program guys that had issues and stuff with other horror hosts and things like that. But we thought at the indie level, man, this is going to be a tight, group of people, because it's like we're not considered, official because we're not on television, man, that type of thing. We're basically, a garage band compared to, a stage act, and it's like, okay, that's fine, but we're all still trying to do the same thing. And that's what dismayed me a little bit about getting into the horror host game, was that it wasn't taken seriously if you weren't on a broadcast television station. To
some people. Mm-hmm. But then there's YouTubers and podcasters that do things online that get more of a following, and they have more success doing that than what a television gig may be.
Right.
So
this is how I look at it too, and this is just me. But I don't see any difference between the CEO of a major global company or a kid running a lemonade stand. Both of those people have their own business. They have they're selling a product. They have a product for sale, and they're exchanging currency for it. It's a business, right? It's more complicated on the one end, but basically, they're both businessmen. They're both they have a business. So, right, you know what I'm saying?
So that's the bare bones basics.
Yeah.
Like, basically, that's what business is. So whether you're running a lemonade stand or running a corporation,
you're gonna tell that little kid they're not a boss?
It's still a business, just on a different level.
Absolutely.
So there's different platforms. There's different ways how each platform is ran, and with television, it has. I noticed it does have, people still have this
perception
that it has this clout, and it has this.
It's legit if it's on a commercially run.
that it has this legitimacy because television has been around so long. But to me, even though television does have some legit, it does have some street cred, it's also, to me, kind of like a dinosaur. And I'm not poo-pooing TV stuff completely, but with everything streaming, and there's so many different options for people to get their entertainment from.
Right, yeah. One is just as good as the other, and we'll get into that in a second.
One can be better than the other, depending on the gig. Some people might have a really good TV gig. Some people might have a crappy TV gig.
Right. And
some people might have a really good, strong online presence, millions of followers. Some might only have 15,000 online followers like us.
Right, and that's the thing. Just because it comes out of Hollywood doesn't make it's not going to be an instant hit necessarily. It's not going to. I thought that was the most interesting thing, because Hollywood and television, all that kind of stuff, they make a product and the reason they make the product is so that they can get people to watch it, so they can have advertisement built into it, whether in it or around it, that they can charge these advertisers a top dollar for their entertainment to push, right? And you have these Hollywood productions that are millions of dollars, okay, and they bomb, or nobody watches them, and then you got a guy with his camera or a girl with their camera playing the guitar in their bedroom, or running around the streets skateboarding, and they get millions of eyes on what they've uploaded. Those eyes count. Those are the same eyes that will watch a television screen. But now,
and what's nice is if you upload something to YouTube or other online platforms, they have analytics where you can check your own numbers. You can see who's listening, who's watching.
Yeah, that's very important.
You can see how well your content is doing or how not so well it's doing.
And that's what led YouTube and other platforms to develop a way to for the content providers, the uploaders, to monetize from it. Because they sell ad space on those popular videos, on any video that's monetized.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as a commercial. I mean, that's a television commercial. So anyway, I don't want to get too far off track here, but to me, that is just as legitimate. Like the virtual or the online entertainment platform is just as good and legitimate as big screen or small screen television.
It really is, and
it is
can
now.
be.
It is now. It has to be. So, that being said, okay, so the bird wants to chime in. Yeah, what
There's
about
a blue jay by the window.
Boy, is that blue jay in. Oof. What else? Okay. We'll
I don't know if the mic is picking them up.
Yeah, any last words? Okay, thank you so much. Anyway, yeah, I'm sure I can hear that.
It's springtime, everybody.
It is. In our room it is anyway. Okay, shut up.
Let's just keep talking.
It's a little distracting. No.
Let's just keep going.
So the whole thing with so going back to the whole independent horror host gig, we came in all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, wanting to do the stuff that we liked watching growing up as kids. And here's another thing, real quick. As far as I know, there's no college or degree or certificate that makes one a bona fide television personality. It's just or entertainment person. There's no such thing. It's not like a doctor.
Well, technically.
No.
If you wanted to get more involved with like radio or television, there are media schools for that. But if you're popular enough online, you have a good presence, then you could get a television or radio gig if you have like a built up your following and you're able to promote yourself. I mean, it can be done.
No, but I'm saying, but there's no school you have to attend to, whether it's correspondence
to be a movie host.
Be a movie host specifically, that particular thing. But these some of the people, the professionals, quote unquote, that are doing this, I am saying they are professionals. Some of them worked at these TV stations and wanted to become horror hosts. Or just took the gig as a weekend thing for extra bucks, and then it just kind of steamrolled into something bigger.
9 times out of 10, these late night movie hosts from back in the day already worked for the station.
Yeah,
and they were offered this gig, to
make an extra $50 or whatever,
Well, it may not even be anything extra because they're on contract. It's like, hey, you're also doing this too.
Yeah, with the
and maybe they didn't have most of a choice,
whatever the reason was, but it was always
We talked a little bit about this last week, but what we were going to talk about this week with the horror hosting.
I'm building up to that by saying that. Well,
okay.
So that all being said, rehashing it, but trying to lead us to what we're going to talk about is that you would think that with the horror hosts that are more independent or are independent would be a real tight-knit group of people, and for the most part they are. There was an attempt to create the Horror Host Underground years ago,
about 20 years ago.
Yeah, by Dr. Creep, A. Ghastly Ghoul, Bone Jangler. There's a lot of these horror hosts that were doing independent stuff, online stuff, cable access especially.
So this was before YouTube was really a thing and before the internet was good enough to really put video out there all the time. There was a group of horror hosts that did start the Horror Host Underground,
and it was a great concept
where they would trade tapes of each other's shows, and they would
submit them to their local.
They would submit the content to their local public access cable channel in their town.
Yep.
So that way, these tapes would get traded, and all these other movie hosts would get exposure on these other channels to try to build up their following.
And if one took off, maybe it would be like, "Hey, buddy," and they would help each other out.
Yes. They were trying to help promote one another, which is a great concept to help your friends help promote one another.
Yeah, and if one became the next like Elvira or Svengoolie or whatever, that they could go, "Hey, today on my show I'm going to have my buddy Dr. So-and-so or Creep this guy or whatever."
Right, where then if one of you makes it, then you could have your friends on the show and help promote them.
Who knows where you can go. But it was definitely a cool way to network and to see whether or not, just to get a foot up in a very difficult business that if you're not, because TV is very fickle with that. I mean, if your show doesn't perform, you might be on for 3 episodes and that's it.
Well, and 20 years ago, before this whole YouTube and everything really took off, it's difficult if you're not working for a television station or not interning for them. It must have been even more difficult to try to get on regular television.
Yeah, so the internet has opened up.
Or to get any type of popularity or notoriety.
And the internet has smashed that ceiling. There was a different kind of glass ceiling there, and it's been smashed by the internet. So anyone that wants to do anything, as long as, they can do it. You're going to tell me someone, that can sing really well. Well, they didn't go to school for it. Yeah, but you hear this kid sing, they're amazing. They're better than some of the professionals. They're singing on YouTube. They're legit.
That's how Billie Eilish started.
Yeah.
Just a girl singing, making music.
Justin Bieber, all
with
those
her. Yeah, making music with her brother, putting it on YouTube, and now she's a star.
You get discovered, blah blah blah. So anyway, so we that's how we looked at it. There's nothing there's no law that says you can't be a horror host. Why not? I mean, and if your show's good, it's good. If it sucks, it sucks. But you put it out there.
Oh, there's so many movie hosts all over. So it's
just like
whatevs,
anything else. Yeah, just like anything else. So we were kind of dismayed that there's like this really weird. There's some strange behavior, and maybe it's not all that weird to encounter being the kind of group of people we are. We're all kind of weird. But we thought there'd be a lot more understanding because, again, we're all dressing up like imaginary characters that we've created, and we have the same interests.
It's kind of like, I mean, it's our original cosplay. We have our characters we dress up as and perform as, and we host movies and
we try to figure out how to make an entertaining piece of.
Yeah, we put together skits. We do little videos. It's
and everyone has
a
their
personality.
Own style. Everyone has their own style, and we liked all that.
Well. So, let's see. How should we word this? So,
what are we trying to accomplish here? I think that we all need to kind of stick together as horror hosts and not get into really, really weird accusations of things or the drama of it, I should say, like the drama stuff, without any evidence and things. I mean, that was going on. And it happened to us a little while ago. It happened to some other people that we know. And it just seemed to be very like nothing like that. It was kind of quiet and everything was kind of nice for a good long time. There's
some characters who I'll just say characters who I guess were messing with people online, and kind of this he said she said thing, and it was like in a gaslighting manner, where they would word things a certain way, and it was difficult to have a conversation with them, and behaving in a very narcissistic manner, where it was a very toxic environment, where some of the other host friends were wondering what's going on here.
Yeah, because it kind of just came out of nowhere, and without getting too much into it, it felt very like you said, narcissistic, and sort of like they were riding this sort of wave that was going on last year of being right about all kinds of weird stuff. It's kind of hard to talk about without anything saying specific, but it got really weird, where there was a weird mix of politics going on, and and obviously Facebook especially has cracked down on a lot of the stuff that's posted now because of all the opinions that were going on and people going back and forth each other politically.
Yeah, there were a few characters that, on top of the gaslighting narcissistic behavior, they were mixing their character with putting up a lot of political
stuff,
things,
religious stuff,
and religious things that if you're kind of in the public eye, in my opinion, you should try to limit what you say about politics and religion, because you get if you're a person that's sort of trying to be a public figure or an entertainer, you're going to have fans from all different faiths and backgrounds, and you don't want to get too involved in that or feel like others. Or make others feel excluded.
Well, what I'll say on that
I'll just say that.
What I'll say on that is it's this. Because a lot of people are like, well, why is this actor, speaking out about this thing or that thing politically or religiously? I think that the actor as a person could do that and use their fame to do that. Like if, for example, I didn't say that they're doing this, but let's take, I don't know, Chris Hemsworth. He shouldn't dress up like Thor if he had a certain political affiliation. Just saying, I don't know. Just for example, this actor dress up like a character that they play and go around and talk about it. But if he speaks as himself, off camera, then that's fine, because they're using their fame because people are listening to them. bring up, whatever their cause is.
Some people can do that for good, like maybe they're raising money for a charity, and it's to bring about awareness of a certain
that's what I'm saying
charity thing. But
so
if it's in a divisive manner,
well, but that's your choice though. But
or in a
So
especially when these certain characters were also starting arguments with fans.
Okay, fine.
That's not cool.
All right, but as horror host, specifically the horror host stuff, like if I have political beliefs or religious beliefs, I don't bring them up. I don't dress up like Grimm Gorri and start talking about this stuff, or on our Mummy and the Monkey page go into political. We don't do that. I mean, because it has nothing to do with our show, and we want our show to be this like neutral base where everybody can come and just hang out. And not have anything to do with politics or religion or anything like that. It's really kind of level playing field type of environment. But if I went on my personal page and started talking about stuff or whatever, then that's on me. It's not my character. It's me.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that what was happening was that it started bleeding in. There were some people out there that
worlds were colliding, where they were commenting as their character, saying and doing certain things, rather than maybe discussing certain topics privately with their friends and not putting it on their their public group or public fan page. And
all I'm saying is that, look, it's America, it's a free country, you can do what you want to do, but the only thing is that if there could be consequences, with other people that watch you or follow you or your friends, where they're looking at you in a different way now because you have these you're taking these beliefs you have and they're coming out on your your character page, and it's kind of weird.
Well, and if you look at so here's some good examples. I mean, your local TV weatherman, your local news reporters, they're not going to put
their opinions.
Look at their profiles and see what posts they put. Oh. They're not going to put anything that's too
controversial
or one way or the other. They're going to put up stuff that most people can like. Yeah. They're going to put up things that are for the public. Yeah. So and if you're trying to be an entertainer or someone in the public eye, I mean, you have to carry yourself a certain way,
right?
And talk a certain way, and it's just in poor taste to start arguments with fans or to act in a gaslighting, hostile manner towards others, and then post things like so and so said this, and
and when the stuff's happened, we had our issues last year with this stuff, and it came into this year a little bit too. We ignored it. We just didn't address it, but it's still on their end, on the other end, kept coming up.
Yeah, because we didn't talk about it publicly, but then these same people were commenting and saying things that were not true,
right.
And then saying things that could be considered slanderous to others. And we tried talking with these characters and to no avail, but we did request that they stop posting certain things.
Yeah, I mean it was just basically a case of this one said, that one said. There's no proof on either end what was but so
and the whole thing is very childish. I hate even bringing it up.
But the bottom line is, if someone accuses you of something, they have the burden of proof to prove it, and if they can't, then it just becomes hearsay.
Right.
And then that's when it has to stop. It's not smart or even nice to spread stuff that you can't prove or you can't prove. It's just not. It just becomes a little bit obsessive, then a little bit like not only mean spirited, but especially when you're not even addressing it when it comes up again and again and again.
Because there's no sense in it.
Because there's no truth to it.
Yeah.
And that's how when you're an adult, you just you move on to the next thing, and you say, well, there's nothing for me really to. Why would I defend myself against something I didn't do? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But anyway, so as far as we know, it's just sort of again in that sort of like dead phase, which is good. But it was just a lot to deal with, especially when you're trying
because it was
all you're trying to do is entertain people.
Yeah, and when you're trying to do something and then you have others that, I mean, pretty much it's trolling. That's what it was. I mean, to sum it up, it was, some characters that were acting in a very trolling manner, and it was very persistent.
Where the waters were very smooth for a long time, and then all this
of the blue,
this choppy current just came out and started. All the ships in the bay were rocking back and forth, and it was like, and it was like a it was like, oh, this is great, let me keep doing this. It's like, no, I'm like, everything was kind of quiet and fine,
right?
And you did have other people out that there were a little bit eyebrow raising, but everyone just sort of let it go because it was always. I think what they did was just their own, it was always their opinions, and it wasn't like there was no accusing people of stuff.
Yeah, but let's wrap up that. So
anyway, it was just a weird.
There was a little bit of drama, but it's like just so dumb.
It's the harbor's kind of, I guess, quiet again, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully, we don't see anything like that again because. It just distracts people from what we want to do. So,
and enough of this distraction. Let's talk about. So we said last week we would talk about our little television gig. We are on local television. We're part of the Big Bad B Movie Show on WUAB, Channel 43. Last year we were asked by the manager if we wanted to be a part of it. And we said yes. So we submit content to them. We send them comedy skits between around 2 to 4 minutes. And they let us have a little plug on the show, promoting our stuff that we do.
Yeah.
So the people hosting it currently, the one gentleman, Leopold, the guy with the wacky eye makeup, he works for the station, so he was asked, if he wanted to host it.
Yeah, it was almost just like what happened in the past with people. Hey, you want to do this? And they go, yeah. It was like it was like a little bit of history repeating itself there. And
the cool thing is, so almost 2 years ago, you sold a vintage Channel 19 coffee mug to the station manager.
Yeah, and then when we hooked up with them to deliver it, we dropped off our some info on us, basically a little bit of a package on who the Mummy and the Monkey are, that write-up, the article that write-up we had in Pressure Life magazine, and some other stuff, and a DVD, and he dug it, and that's when we got a call like a year ago to be a part of the Big Bad B Movie Show. Initially we thought we were going to get the gig, like to host it, and that would, but we've talked about that too, and that's another thing we don't have to tiptoe around so much about. We could just kind of outright say, I think that we were hoping that we could have hosted it.
Yeah, we were hoping
or be a different part of it.
We were hoping that offer was to actually be the hosts.
Yeah, it sounded like they wanted us to be involved more, like on the show.
Yeah, that's what we were originally hoping for.
Like an ensemble.
But the producer and the current host had a different vision.
And that's fine.
Which is fine because he was already working for the station. So there's no harm there. We respect all of them. They're nice people.
Yeah.
So
it's nice to it was a little dream of mine to be on, for a long time. I mean, to be a part of the Cleveland TV, folklore or whatever you want to call it. And we are a little part of it. And who knows? Maybe we'll get something through them. I don't know. We haven't really. What we have wondered though too is like if let's say we did hypothetically take some kind of a gig back then. Would all these questions come up?
Then the questions of owning, we still want to own our own characters and our own content, because we would not want a television station to own our content.
Or say we can't do anything. With it, or sell our merchandise. We would want more. We would want creative control. So that would be.
So we're not against television.
No.
We like the idea of possibly being on television, but at the same time, it has to. We want our characters. We want our content. Because we worked so hard for it, and our characters are our babies.
Yeah, and for now, I mean, our show's available to the planet. That's how we see it. I mean, and anybody that puts anything up on YouTube or any of these other platforms has to see it that way too. You're not limited to a local station, which again, would be great. I mean, I would love to do it because now their episodes are available to the world on their website. So
on Roku too, and all that.
So it's like, you know, they're doing that too, but you're getting that local notoriety. And I think that's what we were like a little stingy for us, is that
because we've been doing this longer, and that doesn't.
We wish that, and the sting not coming directly from
the
TV station. But
it's not a bash at them.
No,
this is we wish no ill will towards them. It's all good, but
of course we love that station.
Yeah, we like WUAB. We like Channel 19.
I grew up with it, you know, Superhost and all that. But no, it was just like more of what we thought could happen.
Yeah,
it didn't. But you know, but it doesn't mean it still can't.
We've been doing this almost 7 years, and then in 2018, I believe, the host of the current Big Bad Bee Movie Show interviewed us for a Channel 19 affiliate, CLEweekend.com. So we were actually interviewed by him a few years prior to all of this going down.
Yeah.
And I think at the time I remember asking if they would consider a movie hosted show again, and I think at the time the managers weren't interested.
Well, you're looking at what happened.
Then the pandemic hit, and I think they were just looking to try to do something different.
Yeah, but the question
or to bring back something retro.
Well, there's the question though with Cleveland is like, what's going on with that? You brought this question up too, and before all this even went down, it's like that the horror host legacy of Cleveland. It's a big one. I mean, Ghoulardi is known nationally. I mean, a lot of people know who that character is, and if they don't know him, the character, they know Ernie Anderson, if they're entertainment buffs, right? Because he was the voice of ABC, you know, in the 70s and 80s.
So Cleveland has a very rich history of horror hosts, movie hosts. It wasn't always horror films. No, you know, some of them hosted, you know, rom-coms too.
Later on. But that's what I was getting to, is like, well, I mean, but why wouldn't you want to continue that? Why would, you know, I think this is rife for and ready, and always been ready for some sort of movie horror host type of a thing. And look what's happening with Big Chuck and Little John. They had a 40-year stint on TV8 here on the local station.
Yeah, they were on. Well, they're still on Channel 8.
Well,
and have been on Channel 8 for a very long time.
Now, and when we say still on, they don't show movies, but they put together a half-hour skit show that used to come on at 11:30 up until a few weeks ago. They pushed it back to 12:30 a.m. Now, you know, there's a lot of fans are going, well, what's going on with that? Is that like the last, you know, is that like sort of like the push towards the taking them off the air?
It feels that way, because didn't they do that with the Ghoul on WBNX?
Well, but for different,
in like 2003, they kept pushing the time back.
Yeah, for different reasons. But the reason was to get them off eventually. Because,
so I think that could. I'm predicting that they'll try to phase them out.
Well, it's all over the internet and stuff, and we've talked to John Basso about it too. But basically, that show, they didn't think anybody would care about it, and they wanted that show, according to him, to lose money. They did, and it was making money. People were watching it.
Oh, yeah, like, because at the time, WBNX was owned by Ernest Angley.
Yeah, Ernest Angley.
Ernest Angley, and it was a religious. He had a lot of religious programming, and yeah, he didn't want to make money on it because of the religious aspect.
Yeah, in business, there's a weird thing where you can actually benefit from parts of your business that don't do good. So, and that's what
that don't make money.
Well, that's don't do good, don't make, however you want to say
you're
it.
good. Yeah,
same
duh, sorry.
Same. But my point is that, and that's what they thought the Ghoul Show would just be, sort of a throwaway thing. Maybe some people remember them and watch it a little bit, but they had no idea who they were dealing with. And this guy is insane, and he was like one of the best in the business, Ron Sweet. Regardless of what he thought of everybody else's horror host.
Yeah, regardless of the attitude.
We love him, and
we were still fans.
But it's the Ghoul.
Even though yeah, he did a lot of wacky things that upset people.
And I've heard him. I've seen him in several live appearances, and he's still, you know, way later on in his career, he would still tell stories about, look, you know, when you hire me, when you hire the Ghoul, what do you think's going to happen? You're going to get the Ghoul.
Yeah, he would like
Mr. Rogers.
He would set off fireworks and everything, and
he would get hired by places, and he would do that, and they would go, "What are you doing?" And he'd be like, "You hired the Ghoul."
It was a safety hazard to pretty much have him make an appearance.
Yeah, but it was all, but nothing ever happened. He never hurt anybody, you know, all his life. But he knew what he was doing. He was a professional. The guy was, and that's what. But see, that's what made it fascinating. when you play things very vanilla and straight, it's not. There's nothing intriguing. It's like the Howard Stern show with the movie Private Parts, when they had that one, and I think that was based on a real conversation that happened between the general manager of a station that put him on. I think because it was trendy or something, he didn't realize it. But he had a whole little exchange with someone else in the the ratings guy, and they go, well, he goes, why are people listening to him to see what he says next? Then he was even liked by the people that hate him. And he goes, well, why do the people that hate him listen to him? To see what he says next. It was the same thing. The people that love him and hate him listen for the exact same reason.
Yeah, I hear you.
So that's I think that's another thing that's kind of missing from our genre is the edginess of horror hosting.
Well, that a little bit, and then
I know it is.
Can it even be a thing again? Because, like I said, everything's streaming, everything's on demand. It's not like you have to watch movies on television. I think people just like to watch movies on TV for that nostalgic feeling of like the retro, the movie nights, the hosts that used to be around, that old feeling. And how long is that going to last as time goes on? And then you get like, millennials like me, and then people younger. Like there's people younger than me that have no idea what a horror host is.
That's true. And how do we reinvent that? How do we, meaning the whole community? How does trust me, there's no ego here. How does the horror host community as a whole do that? I know one way it's not to do is to fight with each other.
Yeah.
Unless it's a fake wrestling fight stuff. That's different.
Well, that would be funny. Like,
you're going
if
back,
we pretended to, if we were doing like some wrestling thing.
Well, I don't mean wrestle
or
each
like
other.
a roast.
I don't mean, that would be interesting.
A horror host roast.
It's too literal. I don't mean to actually grapple with somebody. I meant the phony fights that they have. When I see you next time, Slade, I'm going to stomp a mud hole you and walk it dry. And those guys have a beer the next night together. They're not mad at each other.
It's all an act.
It's all a work.
That'd be funny.
Okay? Or a shoot, whatever the wrestling term is. I think it's a work. That means it's not real. I forget which one it is. Anyway. But maybe that could be interesting. We have, and even the Ghoul did that though. He did that with local celebrities. He'd have like fake fights with them and fake
Denise DeFala,
fake feuds and stuff like that.
He did that with
and it worked.
Yeah, with a Channel 19 news lady, Denise DeFala.
And Goulardi did it with Dorothy Full-Time.
Yep.
But he also did it with Merv Griffith. See, that's what people don't even know.
Really?
With the guy that was,
I remember Merv Griffith.
Yeah. But he was national. And but actually Merv Griffith, they produced that. He was like the there was that TV8 station was an affiliate of his network, and he would have cutouts of Merv Griffith and throw darts at it, and he got in trouble for that.
Oh geez,
crazy! That was crazy back then. You didn't make fun of the guy that owned all the stations and stuff like that, but he did.
So what makes us stand?
But not out of hate, just to do it because he knew it would.
So continuing on. What can make it different? Okay, how can you make the movie more enjoyable? You put the sound effects in the movie.
Right, which is an homage to the Ghoul show. I mean, I didn't make that up.
How the Ghoul and Goulardi used to make the movie more enjoyable.
Yeah.
You could do stuff like that. You could
like Mystery Science Theater, they tie themselves into the whole dang program,
Yeah, so there's
That's
ways
brilliant.
you can do it to make the movie more enjoyable, make the show more enjoyable, where it's like, okay, I've seen this movie already, but let's see how Grimm Gorri puts his sound effects in it.
That's what you're watching for, hopefully, is to see what I do with what Grimm does to the movie.
Yeah.
What the sounds are. And I try to use a lot of the same sounds and I pepper some new ones in, but that's what I liked about watching the Ghoul growing up, is that, you knew when someone got hit, they're going to hear the ow, ow, ow sound effect, or,
Yeah.
Or, there's all the Papa Uma Mao when somebody makes a face or something, but, yeah, that was, I like the predicted sound. I knew what they're gonna. And I love to hear those same sound effects every show, and then some ones I never heard before were peppered in there. But that's what I try to do, and we do visual drop-ins too, where But that, again, that's just to make the show more watchable. Because how many times can you watch Night of the Living Dead without something different? How do you do it? That's the challenge.
Yeah, and we're talking with independent filmmakers.
Yeah.
We actually had a wonderful phone conversation
this could be a whole other part of the show.
With a TV with a TV director and a film director.
But
we probably
want to save that story.
We'll save that story for later on.
For next week. Yeah.
Maybe next week.
Yeah, for next week. Yeah.
So we're excited to talk with some of these filmmakers and get to know some more people in the biz
because the cool part
in quotes, air quotes.
And the cool part about that is we could it has something to do with our thrifting adventures, and then it led into talking to a movie director.
Yeah, so it is a fun story.
Yeah, we could say
and
that
it ties the two worlds together.
Yeah.
And
they do complement each other.
We're still looking over some other films that filmmakers have sent us.
Yeah.
In hopes that we can play it later. So we're excited about that.
Yeah.
And we still have to pick out a movie for this Friday.
Oh my gosh.
There's so much to do this
week. Let's wrap up the show and get on that.
Yeah, we have to get back to work. But thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your lives to listen to us. I hope while you listen to us, you're working on something productive or creative. And I hope that you're staying safe out there.
Or just trying to find a way to go to sleep.
Yeah, or sleeping to our... There you go.
A big sleeping pill. Anyway, thanks for joining us for this episode of Living the Scream. We'll see you next time, boys and ghouls.
As Decay would say, good night, good fright. Mwah.
It sounded like you said Dick Hay.
Decay.
Janet Decay.
Decay. Janet Decay, as Janet Decay would say.
Gotcha.